Okay, so this video is about philosophy, what our reality aligns with based on the evidence. Naturalism is true, so the idea that things evolved, there was no creator, there isn't one. There's no God creator. That's naturalism. And that is what aligns with what we understand about science and reality. Physics disproves things. You can't go back in time. You can see things from the past, like on a video, but you cannot go back in time. Retrocausation is an idea. It doesn't align with physics. The future doesn't affect the past. That's extremely bizarre. It doesn't align with how time is going. Let's get that out of the way. Naturalism is true because it's the simplest explanation. The idea that God did it doesn't have an explanation of why God exists. Therefore, there is no God. Philosophically, I'm a consequentialist and I'm a compatibilist. So I think that our consequences define our morality. In other words, I think we should do things that support the greatest well-being of each other and us individually. I do research this. I'm mostly inspired by Daniel Dennett. He's a compatibilist too. I'm also a compatibilist. It's how my values align. It's how I experience reality. And it's what the evidence suggests is that there are certain things in our control, our actions. Deterministic reality, the idea that everything happens because of a prior cause, and I think that's true to some degree, but I know that we have free agency. That highlights moral responsibility, the idea that we're responsible for our actions. So that does not disprove free will. It's just not the libertarian kind of free will where we just have free will. If someone drinks alcohol and they get into a car, they're a risk. They are a risk. So that affects the brain. And that person should not be driving. They should be calling a friend or something. So that affects our cognitive ability temporarily. Hopefully people don't drink to the point where they're damaging their body. But cognitive ability and functioning. But the person chose to drink alcohol. So that's their free will. It's an addiction, perhaps. So there's a genetic. That's not genetic. That's my head. There's a genetic component to it, but it's a choice. So basically, what I'm trying to say is Tsunamis, monsoons, things that happen beyond our free will. Natural events like hurricanes. Maybe the stock market. Different things that are beyond our control. Or we can even say we didn't choose to come into this life through naturalistic explanation. But I think the Big Bang that created the universe, and we discovered all these laws about how the reality is, physics, including gravity, different equations, math discovered, So math is kind of like a discovery and an invention. It's discovered, What I'm trying to say is we're not always aware of why we do what we do. There may be factors at play sometimes, but I do think we have degrees of freedom, as the late Daniel Dennett said, in how we operate. We're responsible for our actions. And that's what I want to leave you with. So the conclusions are that I have made, and I hope you can get to this point, is there's no God. Hard to sometimes adjust to that, but it can clear up your thinking and help your critical thinking using evidence and research. And sometimes you have to suspend judgment. I learned that. I have 44 college credits in the English 2 class I took. I learned you have to suspend judgment before you conclude things. Thank you.